Electrical panel.
Alright, here we have your 12 volt DC panel, your digital multi-control panel, generator start panel, and water maker panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the DC panel, which is a 12 volt DC panel. So you have a lot of switches here. So we're going to start with these switches here, with the navigation light. So you have a navigation light, power light, mooring light, and a search light. Again, those are night light, navigation light. As you need them, you turn them on. You have a navigation instrument. Your display is next to the steering wheel, your chart plotter, and the depth and speed and autopilot. Also, you have another chart plotter next to your chart table. We're going to turn them on a little bit when we get to the chart plotter. Hull light. This is like a main switch for all the hull. You have individual switches around that you can turn on and off. Fridge. You have a fridge and another breaker here for a fridge. So you got two fridge. One is a fridge, one is a freezer. Also you have a fridge in the cockpit. The fridge that you have on board, they are all 12 volt. I mean, they work from the DC battery bank. Because you got so much fridge on board, you're gonna have to religiously charge your batteries up in the morning and in the evening. The way how you charge your batteries up, you can charge your batteries by running both engine at 1500 RPM for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. Or you can run your generator for a long period of 6 to 8 hours and make sure your battery charge is on, like here where we have it on shore power, and it will charge your battery. Also, lucky for you guys that this boat have solar panel, so that also help charges your battery bank. Freshwater pump. Your freshwater pump is a self-priming pump. As it prime your system, it shut itself off. If I were you guys, turn it off when you're not using it. Why? In case if someone leave a faucet open, it'll just pump the whole tank and leak it out. Here you have a saltwater pump, like a wash down pump. You don't need that. On the right hand side here, you have 4 breaker that's already on, which are your belch pump. You have 2 for the hull, 2 for your engine. So they're on, and it means that it have an automatic switch with them. So if any water comes in, it will automatically pump it out. If it's not working automatic, you can manually override it by pressing the switch to the port side, and that way you manually override the system and you pump if there's any water inside. Also, you heard an alarm was squeaking there. It means that that pump is activated. It will do all 4 pumps. So anyway, it's pumping water and you're not seeing that it's pumping, you can hear it, the alarm will comes on. And then you need to investigate if it's keep coming on every 5 minutes, what's going on. There's another fridge here. Courtesy light, turn it on at night. The other switch here is for Wi-Fi. So you turn it on, you get power to the Wi-Fi for your usage. Underwater light, you turn it on, get underwater light at night. Gas valve, when you're ready to use your stove, you turn it on so propane can flow to your stove, finish cooking, turn it off. Also, you can turn the tank off at night, so in that way you know for sure no propane will be coming through the system. That's pretty much it for your 12 volt DC panel. The DC panel is really easy and straightforward. Whatever you need, you put them in where you don't need, you turn them off so you can save battery power. Let's go to the digital multi-control. The digital multi-control panel here is really to turn the battery charger on or the inverter on. So right now, you on shore power, you don't need to use the inverter, because what it does here in shore power, it charges the battery and also gives power to the AC outlets, so you can charge stuff up. When you're not on shore power or generator is not running, there's a little switch in the middle here. You move it over to the on position here where is the inverter, and then it will start invert for you. So what the inverter does really, it takes 12 volt and make 110 volt. Whenever you're using the inverter, you must have your engine running at 1500 RPM. In that way, whatever juice you're pulling out from the battery, you're putting it in back at the same time. So mostly the switch stays on all the time on charging, because you're going to be on shore power or generator most of the time. You're only going to really move it to inverter because maybe you have no shore power or your generator is not running. Now I'm going to turn it off because I want to start your generator. So before I start my generator up, I have to turn shore power off. So I'm just going to signal to my colleague out there to turn shore power off. So here, shore power is off. We're just going to do a test of the inverter. So because we had the shore power on all the time, the batteries are full, so I don't have to start the engine right now because we're just doing a test. If you look here, I move it to all the way over to the on position, my inverter comes on, and I have power to my AC outlets. So there you go. So now I'm going to put it back to charger only and leave it. To start the generator, again, it's very important to make sure you have no shore power coming into the boat, because you have an automatic transfer. So if you have shore power coming in and then you start your generator, the automatic transfer doesn't know where to automatic transfer. So you must select one at a time only. So here I'm going to start my generator up. To start the generator is easy to press the start button, hold and wait. So here I'm going to press the start button. It's going to program preheat and start. My generator start up there. The light going to stay steady now. As you see, it stays on steady. Also it shows me that I have 115 volts. Already my air condition kicks on because the generator is on, and in a little bit here it should show me main on. It's already on. Voila, everything is on for you. You want to turn the generator off, straightforward, press stop. Now my generator is off. I'm just going to signal to my colleague to turn my shore power back on, and you will see this comes on. So she already turned the switch on. Shore power is coming up here now. Voila, shore power. As you see, I have shore power, no generator. When I had my generator running, I had no shore power. Water maker. The water maker is very easy here. You have three buttons: green, red, and blue. In this situation, the green means go, red means stop. The blue is when you are flushing the system. You don't have to flush the system because it uses water from your tank and flush the system. We do that at the end of the trip for you. To turn it on, press the green button, press and hold for a couple of seconds, and then you release. It's already on. So it will do its own testing, and if it's good quality of water, it will send it to the tank. If it's not good quality, it will not send it to the tank. When you finish, you press stop and it's off. In a little bit we're going to show where the water gauges are, so you'll know how to see when the tanks are full. So that's it for your 12 volt DC panel and your digital multi-control startup panel for your generator and your water maker. Okay, here we at your chart table. At the chart table here you have your fusion player, which is Bluetooth. You have a backup chart plotter here. You have gauges for your port and starboard fuel and fresh water tank. Also the voltage readout and your chart and your VHF. So let's start with your fusion. To turn it on, you press the power button. It comes on. It's already set to a radio station. So you have two zones. You can select which zone you want to. Here is an arrow that will take you to the page that says AM, FM, auxiliary, and Bluetooth. The auxiliary input is to the starboard side here, or the right side, the chart plotter, the chart table. I'm going to turn it on by press the power button and slide. It's an Axion. It usually takes a couple seconds to warm itself up. Okay, now you press OK to continue, and you press chart. That's going to show you where your boat is. It's in the harbor here. Also, you have a depth readout. It's a touch screen, so you can pinch it in, and you can see the whole turtle around it. Here you have the gauge, so you can turn it off completely, so it's off. For you to see the fuel and the port engine, do it one click. To see the fuel in your starboard engine, second click. To see how much water you have in your tank, third click. Here you have a 14.3 volts readout. That's for your domestic battery bank. That's a battery bank that you need to pay attention to. But because of the solar panel, during the day it always stays full. And also because we have the boat plugged in to shore power right now, and the battery charge is on. VHF. You press your power button to turn it on. It usually comes on and you have to press the same power button where it says OK, and it goes to channel 16. Everyone monitor channel 16 and they will tell you what channel to switch to. For you to speak, you press. To listen, you release. You can change the station that they require you to by using the big knob. If you are at channel 68 and you want to go back to 16, you press 16. To the far right here you have some AC outlet, 12 volt plug outlet here, the cigarette lighter one, also the auxiliary input for your fusion. So that's it for your chart table. Okay, here we have your remote for your air condition. You have each cabin, and you have two in the salon. So you have a power button, a mode button, a temperature, and a fan. Right now if you look at it, it's showing you 77. That's the temperature inside of the boat right now. So I press power button, it will comes on. The mode that I need to set it at is cool and heat. As you see here, it says cool and heat. The temperature that I want to set it at, maybe 62, and that's a good temperature. I can set my fan and different speed it. I can have it in manual, turn it up and down, or I can leave it automatic. So I'm just going to do manual at speed number 4 maybe, and it's working. And that's your air condition for you. To turn it off, just press the power button and it comes off. So that's how you work your remote for your air condition.
Checking the bilge.
Okay, here we at your starboard aft cabin. Under the floorboard is where your belch pump is. That's your automatic belch pump. Early on the panel, and the 12 volt DC panel, I'll show you there's 4 switches there. You have 2 for your engine room and 2 for each hull, or 1 for each hull. So here is your automatic belch pump. We'd like you to check your belch every morning before you set sail and every night before you go to bed. Also you have one on the port side, but the port side one is on the midship and the double bunk mattress. So that's your belch pump, and that's where they are located.
Lighting the stove.
Alright, so here we want to light your stove and the oven. First we have to make sure that the switch on the panel that says gas valve or gas switch is on the DC panel. Then we come under the sink There's another LPG gas control system here. You press on and it comes on. Yellow valves already here, it's in line. Mean that propane can flow to your stove. So you have 4 burner. First you light the match first. So we're gonna light the match here. Oops. My match is not staying lighting. Okay, there we go. One is light. I'm gonna do the next one. When I'm lighting the burner them, you have to press, push down, turn, and keep holding it down. As you can see, these are working here. To turn it off, just turn the knobs then back off.
Flushing the heads.
Okay, this is your toilet switch. The toilet that you have on board, it's electronic. To bring water into the bowl, you press it on the port side. That will bring water in. You do your business and then you empty it out. Do it again. I'm gonna bring water in. Fill the bowl up and empty it. That's how you use your toilet.
Flushing the heads.
Okay, here we have a manual toilet. So the manual toilet have a handle on it and a little lever here to select dry bowl or wet bowl. So I'm just gonna pop it out to show you the handle up and down. It's on dry bowl. Now I want to use the toilet. What I'm gonna do is to put it on the wet side and give it a couple of pumps. In that way, I'll bring some water in. I have some water in it now. I do my business. Put the lever to the dry side and give it a couple of pumps. So everything will be disappear from the bowl. For me to flush it, I'll bring it to the wet side and I'll bring water inside. This way I'm bringing in water and I'm flushing at the same time. 10 to 12 pump. After 10 to 12 pump, put it back on the dry side and it's ready for someone else to use it.
Starting the engine.
Okay, here we want to start our engine up. Before we start the engine up, we want to make sure it's in neutral. To know what's neutral, this is your gear shifting unit here and it's to the end. Or once it can come out like this, it means it's in the neutral position. Here you press on. Let's turn ignition on and start. Over here to your starboard side is the same. Ignition on and start. Now I have to check and see water is coming through the exhaust. That's your raw water cooling system. Let me have a look. Yes, I can see water coming through. Now I'm gonna get the RPM up. By disengage your transmission, you pull the lever out. You can put one forward or you can put it backwards. You get your RPM up. 1500 RPM. So we have 1500 RPM for charging battery, 2000 RPM maximum. Now I'm going to bring it back to neutral. It's going to go back into neutral. Now if I put it forward, it would engage my transmission. Forward or reverse. Now if you were going forward and someone say reverse, reverse, please bring it to neutral, count 1, 2, 3, then you shift into reverse. Please do not shift from forward to reverse or from reverse to forward. To stop your engine, you press stop. and then you turn the ignition off.
Navigation instruments.
Okay, here we have your chart plotter, Brave Marine autopilot, depth and speed, transducer, gauges, and the wind gauge. So we already have your chart plotter on. It's the same like the chart plotter that you have on your chart table. You press chart, and it's going to come up and show you where your boat is. There's a pinch or touch screen. As you can see, your boat is already in the marine here. Also, you can see the depth on it. Autopilot is on standby. If I move the wheel around, you will see exactly where your rudder is. As you can see, the rudder indicator is moving around. To use an autopilot, it's very straightforward. You point your boat straight where you're going and press auto. It will hold the head in. You can plus 10 or minus 20. You can also fine tune it by plus 1, 2, or 3. You don't need the autopilot, put it on standby so you can steer manually. Also, you have two gauges here, which are the same gauges. One I set now onto the depth. Whatever depth they show, you're gonna add 2 feet to it, and that's your true depth because your transducer is 2 feet below the water line. The one to the right can show you the depth and speed and wind speed. You show the angle of the wind and how fast the wind is blowing. You can do the same on this one if you want to, so you can find different pages. I think the page you need to keep with this one is the depth, and this is the multifunction. That's it for your gauge.
Rigging and winches.
Okay, here we have all the winches, the jammers, and the line. So it leads right back to the cockpit area here. So it means now one person can sail the boat very easily, I guess. So here you have your traveler line, you have your main sheet, and your port jib, and your starboard jib. Over to the far corner here you have reef 1, reef 2, reef 3, and your main halyard. You also have electric winches here. So you get electric winch 1 and electric winch 2. Again, these winches have breakers on them. We're going to show you where the breakers are in case if someone stops working on you. Only how they can stop working on you if you overload them. Overload means you have the line around it, the sail is all the way up, and you're still pulling it up. It's not going nowhere, it will trip the breaker. Also, these are self-tailing winch, and the strength of the winch is in the middle of the drum here. So I'm just going to load one of them up so you can see how to load it up. So here I go. So that's it, that's a self-tailer winch. That's how a winch should look like when someone want to use it. Not like this. Okay, that's a no. This is a yes. Alright, so that's for the winch, that's it, all your jammers are here. So now we're going to go up front to the windlass.
Electric windlass.
So here we have your windlass. Whenever you're using the windlass, make sure your engine is running, both engine. You have a remote, press down and up. Whenever you're bringing your chain up, if you could put your boat slowly and forward, so the windlass is just bringing the slack up of the chain. What you have here, you have 150 feet of chain with 50 feet of rod on it. Your chain is marked at every 25 feet with a yellow mark. With a boat like this, whenever you're anchoring, you should at least be in 20 feet of water. Then you drop your anchor. You want to do a 5-to-1 scoop. So the foot yellow mark that comes up, that's 100 feet. Also, you have a snubber line here to hook on. You have a secondary anchor. The secondary anchor have the reverse, 50 feet of chain and 150 feet of rod on it. Also in here you have some extra line. You can store fenders and line in here. Also you have a changeover valve for your water pump. You have 2 water pumps. So in a little bit the camera gonna move around and we're gonna show you where it's, in case for some reason one of the fresh water pumps stop working and you can switch to the second pump. Alright. Okay. Here you have a gray box. In the gray box you have 2 water pumps. To the bottom of the box you have a red valve which you to select which pump you're using. Also there's a switch to the left side here of the box. So you can only use one at a time. You have 2 pumps. It's labeled pump 1, pump 2. Right now the valve is on pump 1, the switch is on pump 1, so we're using pump 1. If for some reason pump 1 stopped working on us, we come here, we move the red handle valve to the down position and turn the switch on to pump 2. And that way if we have one pump fail, we have a backup pump. So now I'm going to put it back all the way up, pump 1, put my switch back up, pump 1. So lucky for you guys, you have a backup pump here.
Operating the mainsail.
Okay, here we're going to show you how to pull the mainsail up. You have an easy hook system. If you don't get it right, then it doesn't be easy anymore. So, you have the hook and the easy part. If the easy part stays here, the sail will go up but it will not come down. The easy has to be in the hook here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you're going to pull it in. You have to go slow with it. When you get it about here, you get a little bit aggressive with the main halyard and pull it down so the hook can go in here. Let me do it. Okay, I'm pulling on my main halyard. Look at it. Okay, when I have it on that part here, this is where I'm going to really pull hard to get it in. See how we hang in there now? So now, my sail going to go up. Once I have my boat straight into the wind, if I release, you're going to come down back. Now I can pull it on really easy. But I have to have my boat straight into the wind. See the easy hook? It's in place. The last part of it like that, you're going to have to help it. It's a little bit stiff here because I'm not straight into the wind. So it's a little bit difficult to get it on. The last part you can do this and help it on. Okay? Easier that way. Also, you have for your mainsail, you have 2 reef lines, you have an out haul that pull the sail backward, the sail is already back. So you have a first reef and a second and a third reef. The reefs are connected here. In this case, this is your first reef. You have another one. So on the other side is your second and your third reef. If you look at it, it goes back. Main halyard, the gray one. The Genoa or your jib is already up, so you don't have to mess with it. Top and lift, it's already secure. The lines that you really need to play with for your mainsail, it's just the main halyard and your main sheet. If the wind is really heavy, well then you have to put the reef in. Your head sail. The head sail is very straightforward. Whenever you're pulling your head sail in and out, point your boat straight into the wind, release your drum roll or furling line, and pull on your jib sheets. To bring it in, you do the opposite. If the wind were really heavy, you can reef it by pull part of it in or part of it out.
Battery switches and windlass breaker.
Okay, here we are looking at the battery switches, the windlass breaker, the winch breakers. So here we have 2 red key in the on position. One is a domestic battery, one is the engine battery. This next one that's off, this is a coupler key. It means that you're only going to use this if one of the engine doesn't start. To couple the batteries, you put the key in and turn, you'll couple all the battery, so you will get the engine to start. It's like a big jumper cable, so to speak. When you're not using it, take it out back. Or don't leave it coupled, because if one of the batteries is going bad, it'll just run all the batteries up. So you don't want to do that. Here you have the windlass breaker, which is this one. A lot of people get confused with the windlass breaker and the winch breaker. If your winch is not working, don't come here. This is only for the windlass. The windlass is the winch or the windlass that bringing your anchor chain up. If I look at it here, if I press this red button here, you will see a little lever drop down. That's trip to reset. Slide it back up, so it should be like 2:45. Look at it again. That's the trip. That's the reset. So if you were using the windlass and it suddenly stopped working, you'll come down here and see this in the off position. But sometimes with the sunlight and the darkness here, and because the lever is also black, you don't get to see it properly. Sometimes you just put your finger and feel, slide it up back. This is for the service battery bank. You know, this one, if this one trip, it means all the lights are off, so you don't have to worry with this one. Over here, so this is for the winch breaker. When you're pulling the mainsail up there, you have 2 electric winch. That's trip. That's the reset. This is a different winch, different breaker, but it's the same for the winch. That's trip. That's reset. So that's it for your DC switches here and breaker. There's another breaker all the way inside. The camera gonna turn slowly to it. That's for your transom. So if you are bringing your dinghy up or down, and again it's not working, it means you will come here and see this little lever in the down position. Reset, slide up. So all the 12-volt breakers and switches are in your port engine room.
Engine overview.
Okay, so here we are looking at the port engine. We want to show you a couple of things on the engine here. If you press stop to stop your engine, and for some reason the engine doesn't stop on you, there's a manual stop here that you can pull backwards and the engine will stop for you. If you put your boat in forward and your RPM is not coming up, I mean throttle cable breaking you, here you can move this backwards manually and you get your RPM. It will move better if your cable break. Also to the back of the engine, to the top of the transmission is the same concept with a cable with a little handle that you can shift. But those are only for emergency. We would like you to have a look in the engine room every morning before you get going. See there's no oil, no water, nothing's building up, so you got nothing to worry about. If your oil pressure get low, an alarm gonna come on. Water temperature get too high, an alarm gonna come on. If your belt broken and it's not charging your batteries, an alarm gonna come on. So that's it for your port engine room. We're gonna go to your starboard engine room now. Okay, here we are looking at your...
Sorry, start again.
Here we are looking at all your AC breakers. When we say AC, everyone go, whoa, air condition. Not only air condition breakers are in here, but AC outlet and other AC main alternating current. So if for some reason one of the outlets are not working, or maybe one of your air conditioners is not working, you'll come here and see one of those breakers in the down position. All you need to do is to bring it up back. Remember, these are only from shore power or generator breakers. Now we're going to move the camera slowly to your generator. To the far back here, you have a breaker and a generator. In case if for some reason your generator is running and you got no power coming out, it means maybe you overload the generator and the breaker trip on it. To the far back here, have a breaker, double breaker, that's trip to reset. Reset mean, or on mean, it should be facing you, that's on. If it's facing backwards to the generator, it's off. So that's the only breakers you need to remember for your generator and the AC breakers, and they're all located in your starboard engine room. Okay, here we have the remote to get the dinghy done. The davit that you have is electronic, so to get it done, you press down. That's to the engine side. So you have to press these two switches together here. It will go down, and these two to bring it up. So the last part of it, you can just go slow with it, snug your dinghy in. Or to get it down, you can press down one here, then you go over here. So you can take it down a little bit at a time. So it will go down balancedly. Okay, to bring it up. Okay, that's how you're doing your dinghy up and down. The remote lives under the cushion in the locker here. Please remember, when you're bringing it up or down, or you're using the remote, make sure that no one's sitting here, because then you will squeeze the wire of the remote and then it will not work. If that happened to you, you have a wireless, this will be in the chart table. To operate this one, you press here, which is the power button, and you hold it to turn it on. So till the light up here, and it's the same way, press down, down, or up, up. This will be in the chart table. Okay guys, my name is Anthony. You're gonna have my telephone number during the trip. So if you have any question or any problem with the boat, you could call me on 541-0336. It's only for business.
Thank you so much for watching. Anthony will be available when you get here to answer any further questions that you have. And if you have any questions while you're out on the water, he is available for you 24 hours a day in case of emergency. And his number again is 1-284-541-0336. Have a great trip.